So I'll give a little orientation of what we would do today, and then we'll begin. And if there's any doubt, you can ask, because we're going to go into a slightly different exploration today. The first process is pretty straightforward. We just re-establish our link to the above and below, and the breath and the chant to go up and down. The one thing that we would focus there is, like when I was doing these practices, I noticed that often a time it gets a bit mechanical. The above just lands at some point, the below just lands at some point, and if I carefully observe, it's just landing at a part which is untransformed, and I'm just doing it like alongside work in that manner. So this small detailing is wherever you are landing, above and below, just continue to allow the process to go further. Just a little bit of a nudge, and that's what we'll focus on. So which means if it's landing down at some point, just for a split second, keep an aspiration that it touches the pure depth. The second part of our practice, we go slightly deeper today. The attempt is twofold in this exploration. One is to discover the points of light and the points of joys that are down, and keep offering it to the feet of the Lord, etc. The second, we've already began a little bit, but we will go further deeper today, is to actually transform our habits, our unconscious, the inconscient. A part of it is personal, a part of it is personal collective in that sense of it. But whatever we transform would have an impact on us, and would have an impact on the outside as well. So for example, if we go down, let's say I'm looking at a part in my body which is still not healing. There's a question already. Vanita, you put your hand up. Is that a question? Okay. So, let's say there's a part in me which is not transformed. It could be a psychological nature or emotional nature. And I cast my attention down and I find that region, I get a symbol. So for example, you could see a lizard, you could see or you could see a symbol, or you could see a knot, you could see a dark, semi-liquid, whatsoever. This just represents that what is the correlation of this part, in our thought, in our emotion, down there. So yeah, in the normal process, we request for a lotus or a flower to come in and continue the healing. And so we also said, that part of the lotus, which is beyond our thought, beyond our senses, let that, heal. This is great. But to some extent, a certain participation is also needed, because some of these are very gripping. So today we will do that. So we would do it in a couple of formats, and I'll share that later. So when we land up down and we find that it is still a little dark or still a little knotted, today we will do a practice where we'll keep our attention there, and with our awareness, with our concentration, it's almost like pulling the roots off. Let's say that, there are weeds and they're in the soil and they're not budging. You just pull it off the root itself, okay? And it's almost like you place an intention for that, but you're also doing it. It's not mere imagination. It's actually seeding out the stuck things from the soil of the subconscious. So I'll guide you. You'll almost like you keep, pulling it off the root itself, and you offer it to the feet of the Lord. Only thing is you have to continue to do it, sometimes for these couple of minutes or sometimes over a couple of hours. Till there you find something supple, subtle. The color is shifted. You get a different color. You get a suppler, softer substance, So that's what we're going to do. We're going to slowly learn also to bring an aspiration that we really want to evolve. So otherwise what happens is, in the act of offering, secretly a hook still remains. So we bring our aspiration and we uproot the old stuff, which are there. You don't you don't need to see what it is necessarily. You don't need to know what it is, but we will just keep doing it till there is a freedom that occurs there. Okay. Now, the way we could do it is two ways. The second way, maybe we'll come into the next session, which means we would go into a particular part and the corresponding to that we will do. Today, we will do a generic way. I'll take a few parts of the body. So for example, I could take the pelvic or I could take the navel. And if I take the pelvic, for example, I experience my pelvic in real time. And then I cast it down. I go and see what is the correlation down, and I'll see a color or a pattern or something there, and I work at it. So there are two aspects here. So for example, if I take the pelvic and if I take the correlation down, both the untransformed part will show up and the potentials will also be there hidden. One thing that I'm also reading The Secret of the Vedas, because there's a lot of stuff with reference to the inconscient referred there. And one of the clues there is there's a lot of hidden riches in the inconscient, which has to be recovered. So for us, we could translate it as our potentials, you know. So for example, if you take the throat and if you cast it down, you will see the problem there. But also as you free it from there, the true potential will come forth, enriched by the above and the below, and that would integrate our whole being. This is what we're going to do today. Any major questions you can ask? We'll for a couple of minutes and then we'll begin. So today is deep work.
Arun?
Yeah.
So I have been getting a recurrent kind of a dream, you know, which is quite disturbing. It's been happening for a couple of months. Okay, almost on a daily basis it comes. It's the same pattern. The settings may be different, events may be different, but the underlying pattern is the same. So I want to know whether I can do this process.
Yes.
So how do I do that now? How do I place it?
I'll guide you, but the process is the same. So you take that, you go the correlation down, and we have to uproot it, actually. Uproot it at the root level itself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any doubts after we do the practice? Stay in touch with me. It's a very deep process. I tested again with somebody yesterday, somebody who has a major physical difficulty. We worked for 45 minutes and I got a message from her saying that there's a lot of shift. Physically, there was a lot of difficulty. So it is a very deep process. At the same time, as I repeat, you have to do it till wherever you're uprooting from, you know, whatever it appears like. There could be a symbol, there could be a knot, there could be darkness. You have to continue till something nice emerges there. So even if it is needed for you to do beyond the session, you need to continue, not just in a, you know, sitting posture like this. As you're doing your stuff, ensure you take it till the end and stay in touch with me if whatever support is needed. Okay, so we'll begin. The first is just a grounding one. So we close our eyes and we connect to our body. For about 2 or 3 minutes, aspire that you keep your body quiet, which means we spend most of the time in a day processing our thoughts, emotions, feelings, which most of the time are not so great. So just for about 2-3 minutes, give it a break. Be with your breath, be with your chant. With the end of the in-breath, allow the breath of the sound to go above. Carefully notice where your attention ends in the above and just nudge the attention, breath, and sound to continue to go further up to discover higher ranges of the divine. And as it lands further higher, that too, just nudge it further up. Same way at the end of your out breath, let your awareness, breath, and sound drop below, and wherever it lands, just nudge it to go further below, searching for the divine. As you go further below, you may come in the presence of light, or the depth will show up in a color or subtle substance. You may even hit upon pure waters, or you may hit the flame, or you may come in the presence of certain divine being or presence. Just stay with your in and out, allowing the range to come in. take about a minute or two, and then we'll begin the second practice today. We'll begin with our pelvic. So we'll work on the pelvic, and you can either just work on your pelvic, or if you're picking a particular area of difficulty, with reference to that, you can take the pelvic. A brief introduction of the pelvic is a very important region. It's not just about the sexual currents. That's one part of it. But it is a storehouse of a lot of feelings, fears, jealousies, energies, energy formations. So first bring your attention physically to your pelvic region, below your navel and up until the end, what they call the Muladhara region, or the end of your buttocks, up until this whole region, including your organs. Allow sensations to open up here. Keep dropping deeper into this region so that the sensations open up and you start becoming aware of the tightness or the looseness or the excessive energies or the dryness. What is the color of the energies here? Keep the pelvic connected to the divine in some way, or you can also invoke a flower or a lotus. The lotus can be outside in front or behind at the back, or can be within the region, whatever naturally emerges. We now do a process. Just follow what I'm saying. If there's a doubt, we can pick it later. With your in-breath, squeeze or condense this part. You're inwardly condensing, as if you're bringing the cells together and together and together and together with your in-breath. So it's almost the cells are coming and closer they are touching each other, condensing. And with your out breath, relax so that the cells just relax, spread out, and connect to vastness. In breath, condense, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze together inwardly. Out breath, relax, relax, spread and connect to vastness. Do this for about 2 minutes. When you're condensing with the in-breath, you leave the part open to the above. And when you're relaxing with the out-breath, it'll almost be as if the vastness permeates, fills in this region. Allow this to go deep into the region. It'll almost be as if you're with breath all the time, because with the in-breath, your physical breath is nourishing. With the out-breath, it'll be as if suddenly the vastness is filling in, sometimes from the center, sometimes from the outer. So you're always nourished. We'll pause for a moment before we go down. And now, from the pelvic, staying connected to it in a way, cast your attention below, beneath your feet, below, intuitively locating a space a little bit below or a lot below. Let it come intuitively, which is the correlation of this. Sometimes you'll get one space, sometimes you'll get two spaces. The first would represent the limitations. The second would represent the full potential. Or it can be the same space, which will have both the limitations and the potentials. So from the pelvic, cast down, and you will find either one or two locations. Just become aware of it. Let's first work on the space of limitation, where you would find a slight or more murkiness, excesses, different colors, dryness, or imbalance. Or you may get a image or a symbol. First, request a flower, a lotus, to be invoked here, which through its essence and substance, which is beyond the direction of our thought and senses, can transform this region. Invoke a flower or a lotus and allow it to transform this region of limitations. Don't worry, even if it is extraordinarily limiting or it appears difficult, or if it appears simple. Both are fine. Just invoke the lotus or any flower that appears. If you wish and you can also connect this limiting region to the divine or the master's subtle body or substance. Simply you just connect to them deeper, requesting their subtle body, which carries very high life, love, joy. Request their substance to transform the space. And now we begin our deeper work. Carefully observe still what remains stuck. It could appear as just this gentle sense of staticness, or some threads, or some black color. I'll be quiet for 5 minutes and I will guide in between, repeating the same instruction as reminders. It's almost like with your extended subtle hand, with your own extended subtle hand, offer to the divine. You uproot, you remove from the roots these hooks, bindings, and you keep doing it at your rhythm. It can be slow or fast as per your rhythm. You uproot, offer it to the feet of the Lord. Uproot, offer it to the feet of the Lord. If any memories come up, you uproot those memories also. Uproot it as if you're pulling it off its root, offer it to the Lord. You'll do it in that same location for 5 minutes now. Sometimes something will shift, sometimes nothing will shift. Gently continue, requesting the flower lotus and the divine subtle body to support. Very calmly keep unweeding, pulling off those black stuff, those stuckness at tiny, tiny point. Remove it off the roots, offer it to the Lord's feet. With your subtle hands, you're either cutting off the linkage, the thread or the hook, or you're uprooting it, offering it to the Lord. Keep looking around the region. You're not using thinking to do this, you're actually looking, observing. And wherever you are, see a different color or something different, feels different, appears different, uproot it. So that in its place, both from above and the below, the pure substance can fill in. The pure light and the pure substance can fill in. Do as much as you want. I'll be quiet for 2 minutes. Or if you feel it's sufficient, you can wait. Either which way, 2 minutes. Continue the process. Now, there, invoke the lotus, a fresh one, so that it can continue the process on its own. connect to this divine body of the Mother or the Lord, so the divine body of the divine can help transform further. We pause for a minute before we work on the potential, the creative potential. Now, in the same location or sometimes below it, in a rare location, it can come in any other place, that's fine. For the same pelvic below, go to the same or another location which represents the fuller potential, which you may have access to a small portion now, that the fuller potential show up in the same or a different location, normally below. Now, this depends on you. If you're a male, you could get the full sacred male. If you're a female, you could get the full sacred female. Not so much in thoughts, you just get it as a color, a symbol, or a substance. Or sometimes you may get the union very well. Whatever it is, go to that location or space where the potential is present and just breathe into it there. Request the divine's subtle body substance to become present within this location more and more. Drop a tiny drop of your breath within the region and let it just move in that location, in that same location, up and down. Offer the sound Om or whatever is your tiny chant within that region. Now, out there, we do a very subtle process. Do if it comes, if not, is also okay. There, with your in-breath, as it just moves a little bit up, condense as if you're squeezing, hugging that space together. And with your in-breath, when you're condensing, connected to the divine above. And then with the out-breath, relax that space and connect it to the divine in the depth, even if it has not emerged for you yet. With faith, connected to the deepest depth where there could be that hidden life, that hidden substance, that hidden joy. With your in-breath, condense, connect to the divine up. With the out-breath, just in that region, with your out-breath, relax, connected to the divine at the depth. As you're doing it in any of the earlier locations, if something limiting emerges, uproot it, offer it to the feet of the Lord. This is an ongoing work, a lifetime work. The more we do, the more there is transformation which will show physically, mentally, emotionally. So for now, we are nearing the end of our hour. Those who want to continue can continue. Those who want to complete in this potential location, invoke a lotus or a flower to continue their journey, to continue the transformation, to continue to link this to the divine above, divine below, so that the fullness of law, light, the fullness of the Lord, the fullness of the divine's presence can be recovered. Those who wish to continue the practice, continue. Others who want to complete the practice, come into your body fully. We have done a very deep work. Come into your body and be with your body's substance. Be with your breath. Take your time. Each one is on your own. Allow the practice to complete. And if more time is needed, give it the time. We only worked on one part. The others we will work on the remaining sessions. You're on your own now.